niggas stop caring so much. You niggas care too much, bro. That's why you ain't close to the bag, nigga. I've been on this shit, you feel me? Big bag. Glad big bag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the hashtag WHYISTHISNEWS podcast. This is episode number 21 of this podcast. Last week, we had my boy T Griff on. He's another rapper artist out here. You guys did not watch the interview. Go check it out. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. This one might be a legendary one right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you. We have the one and only Samad Savage in the building. Say what's up to the people, man.
Good with it. What's going on? How y'all doing?
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I hit you up after you put me on your Instagram page. I was shocked by it. I was like, whoa. You put me on an Instagram page and everything, and all of his fans came over and showed me love and stuff like that. So I hit him up, and I was like, hey, you want to come on? And he agreed to it. So he's here now, man. Again, appreciate you coming through, man.
You got it, my brother. You got it.
All right. So this is a question I ask every artist that's an artist, not necessarily YouTubers. I'll ask artists this question. Is how did you get into music, man? How did you start rapping? What inspired you to start rapping, man? What was the inspiration?
Honestly, there was just like one time my brother showed me this program called FL Studios, a production program. At the time it was FL Studio 6, and now they're on FL Studios 20. So also at that time I was 8 years old. And since he showed me that program, I was just hooked on it and just like kept producing. And my beats weren't that good, and there weren't enough people that were trying to rap on my beats, so I tried rapping on my own beats.
Okay.
And at first I just used to just rap to rap, but then I began to think about how music made me feel. I remember a very specific moment where like I was listening to the Eminem show, and it was just a song that was kind of like touching on there that like had me like, you know, it had me in my emotions. And it made me feel like I wasn't alone, and it made me realize that if I do this music thing, I have a responsibility to utilize my pain and let people know that they're not alone. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, and I just want to try to change the world at least one person at a time with positivity, even if that's just in entertaining people.
Okay. I feel it. So like throughout like this time, like you've starting to like gain some traction and stuff like that. You're starting to gain people. Like how has that been like for you to people starting to recognize your music for what you believe it's really good and stuff like that? 'Cause obviously it's really good, but like how do you feel about the traction you've been gaining lately? Like how's that been for you?
Honestly, the traction has been absolutely amazing. I don't know what to say because it kind of feels like out of nowhere, because like I had a good feeling that I was going to like do something this year, but like, you know, not to get all religious on you, but who am I without God, you know? So like if it wasn't willed for these things to come into my life, it wouldn't happen. So I'm just extremely grateful.
Let's also talk about the thing that I think I recognized you, and a lot of people I think started to recognize you from, was the KSI Poppin Challenge. I believe that's when a lot of people started to recognize who you were. When you did the Poppin Challenge, did you expect to even get seen, and did you even expect to even get picked? Honestly, for one of the top people?
No, because that was one of the times where I wasn't really like, I mean, I went hard in the short little 16 verse that I did, but like I wasn't thinking like I need to do this to win. Honestly, Intensify Charts, I don't know if you heard of that channel, but I know the dude who runs the channel, and he said like, yo, there's this challenge that's going on, like you gotta do this. And I almost didn't do it, but he was like, bro, nah, you gotta do this, you gotta submit this today. And I was like, all right. Like, it was a drag, and I didn't think I would win or anything. I've been in so many competitions and never have won one. So I kind of just was like, you know, being insecure about myself and stuff. And lo and behold, I guess I entered it just in enough time, because if you see the video, I didn't make it until I was like the very last person, and that happened after he filmed the reaction video. He kind of just, threw me a rope with that one. So yeah.
Yeah. Threw you up in the rope, and then obviously once you did that challenge, and you got recognized for it, the voting came in. Obviously, Crypt was the one to win it, but then he put a whole cipher together to have everyone in it, and you was included in it. So, like, what was that like, man, to be a part of that cipher and to really showcase your talent?
Okay, so about that, yo, like, on the real, that was one time where I didn't feel bitter about losing at all. And I was praying to win, although I know I didn't give it my best effort. I was still praying to win. But I also prayed for understanding if I didn't win. You know what I'm saying? So once I first initially lost, I was a little sad, 'cause I could have used the money and the exposure and stuff. But I was like, you know what? It just wasn't meant for me to win that, and that's okay. And then, lo and behold, Crypt wins. And Crypt already has a pretty large platform. And if I won, I wouldn't have been able to use that platform to help other people in the way that he did. So I think it was just, extreme just destiny that he won, because I think in the long run it ended up being bigger for me. And a couple of other people.
Yeah, definitely. Because I had Gatsby on, I'm sure you know who he is. I had him on a couple of weeks ago, and he was another artist that was picked for the Poppin Challenge, and he talked about how like it was big for him, and he was just shocked that Crypt even hit him up and then put something like that together for the whole platform to just showcase everyone's talent. That there's a lot of talented artists out there, and I mean, you're to me, you're one of the ones that stand out. Just me personally, just talking to you personally, like you're one of the ones that really stand out, and I see you going really, really far, man. And like another moment that happened is whenever Quadeca put you on the tier list. Now I've made tier lists before myself, and he made one out of the whole KSI and Rice Gum beef or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got put in S tier, and like I didn't know Quadeca really knew who you was until I seen that. I was just like, oh man, okay, so he really bigs you up. Like, what was that like, man? Like, what was that like? How's your like you and Quadeca's relationship overall, man?
So I've always been like a huge fan of Quadeca's work. Every time I seen him, there was one thing that I always like. I like when I see an artist, I compare myself. I always compare myself because I want to be better. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw how versatile that he was, it kind of just like if I was like a turtle, it would have made me put my head in my shell. Like, just that versatility, like, was extreme. And he inspired me to want to be more versatile. So I just looked at him as like a league that's out of my league that I have to work to. And then there was a moment where he followed me, and I was like, what? So I figured, and this was way before the S tier thing. I think this is even before the I think it was before the Poppin Cipher.
Oh wow! But, so he's been.
No, he keeps his ears to the streets. But I think that was also had to do with my relationship with Intensify Charts, because at the time he was trying to get me on a song with Moxes and Quadeca, and I think Quadeca just heard of my name, but I don't think he like really dug into it at that time. So then after the Poppin Cipher, he DM'd me directly and told me like, yo, I just want you to know like people are really watching, like you're really killing stuff out there. Which I don't think he knew how much that meant to me, because, as an artist, sometimes we need that reassurance, like some of us just get down on ourselves. And I was definitely at a moment where I was a little bit down on myself. So like when he reached out to me and said that, it meant the world to me. And then when I saw that I was even mentioned in the video alone, I was like, what? Like, it just like totally threw me for a loop. And then like him going from F tier to E tier to I had to do like the ABCs in my head real quick. But just him like doing that was just like, it made me mad anxious to find out where he was going to put me, and then to find out that I was in S tier, And to hear him say that there was a possibility, like, if there was a level higher than S tier, he would put me there because of my potential. It's like, how much more love could you ask for? And even more recently, you like him and Crip. Yo, I love these guys because him and Crip were in the comments of like this tweet that I did about like features and stuff like that, and they were saying that I deserved it and stuff. And Crip Crip stuck up for me, but also Quadeca stuck up for me when this dude said, "Yo, Samada's ass. If you want to rap like him, all you need to do is go to rhymezone.com." And Quadeca said, "All right, how about you go to rhymezone.com?"
Like, come on, man, what we doing?
It's funny because like I didn't even I wasn't on my phone at the time, so I probably would have messed that opportunity up by responding to that person out of my own like ego, to be honest. But I didn't see that in time, and Quadeca responded, and it just once again was a sure reminder that like the higher ups in the YouTube community, I don't want to say YouTube rap community because I feel like a lot of these rappers are beyond the term YouTube rap, but they are rappers that did build their platform off of YouTube. But anyhow, that's politics. With that being said, all of the higher ups in this world are like they're giving me cosigns, and I appreciate every cosign. Shout out to also Screw, who also like in his video with the tier list and stuff, like he gave some solid advice. He didn't even know what's going on with me or anything, and it's just like he looked out for me. I'm rambling, but a lot of people looked out for me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, Screw has bigged me up. He's giving me a shout out and stuff like that. Screws, he when he noticed someone that is real and like is good at what they do musically, or just even being a YouTuber, he's there for you and stuff like that. He will show that love to you for sure. So let's get a little bit, I guess, more into your life growing up. Like you said before that you were you're from Jersey. I don't know if you grew up your whole entire life in Jersey or not, but like, what was life for you growing up as a kid, man? I'm not sure if you started in Jersey or not, but like you say in Jersey right now. Like, how was life growing up for you, man?
I lived in Jersey my whole life except 2 years. 2 years I moved to Pennsylvania, but a good example of my life would say that like I have what I would call a versatile life. So like I grew up in a town that was diverse, had a lot of black people, white people, Spanish people, not that many Asian people, but still diverse. And it's a suburb, so I got to experience what it's like, you know, being a black male growing up in a suburb. But at the same time, a good like 90% of my family was in a town called Newark, and also East Orange. So most of my weekends and after school and with babysitters and stuff like that was spent over there. So I got to witness a lot of things that come with the experiences of growing up in so-called hoods. So knowing a lot of these things like made me a lot more understanding, you know? And it also made me just see like it made me learn more about even like more so like about racism too, because like a lot of people think racism is like a blatant thing, but a lot of the time it's like diet racism. Like it's like small things that you would only notice if you had certain experiences. So as many experiences as I had, I feel like I got to see a lot more, and I'm grateful for it.
That's good. That's because like you can only like just being an African American, you can only go through the experience. Like other white people may say like like we don't understand it. It's like you have to go through it to understand how our pain is, and that's the reason why like the protests are happening right now, and like everything. Like I mean, even today's July 4th for those that I film these on a Saturday, so today's July 4th, and it's like, do we celebrate Independence Day when during that time us African Americans, we were slaves?
Yeah,
we were slaves. So it's just like, how do we even celebrate a day like this when we were down? Like we were at the bottom of the pit hole.
I mean, I decided the only way that I'm taking advantage of 4th of July from now on is in sales. Like if there's like a sale or something like that, I'm gonna take advantage of that and consider it like really, really minor reparations.
Okay.
But that's like the only way that I'm like celebrating 4th of July, because I totally agree with you. I actually just made a post that said hashtag all countries matter on 4th of July.
Oh
and,
my God.
and put some of my nationalities there, which is Jamaican and Nigerian. So right now, I think I'm gonna go harder for the countries that are in my bloodline that I have been kind of taken from, or my ancestors have been taken from, and celebrate them and, you know, give love and respect to them on this day.
Awesome, man. So let's go back to the music. Specifically, the people that influenced the way that you rap, influenced the way you make music. Who are some of those artists that you looked up to and that you catered towards your sound and stuff like that? Who are some of those artists, man?
I would say it definitely starts off with Lupe Fiasco. Because, like, I had a lot of artists that I listened to. Eminem used to be, like, my number one. But Lupe Fiasco took that place because I realized growing up how much of an impact his music had on me, and understanding that you can be a rapper and rap about, like, just several different things. Like, the topics of rap are limitless. You can use all kinds of creativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to every rapper, I'm not going to throw names out there because I'm not trying to, you know, blackball myself. But let's just say you can name any rapper right now and I can tell you what they rap about. If you name Lupe Fiasco, I can't really, it's kind of limitless. He's rapped about so many different things, you know?
A lot of different things, man. Lupe Fiasco is honestly one of the most underrated rappers in our history, bro. I feel like he does not get talked about enough, and as far as like hip hop at all, and it's honestly unexplainable. It's honestly unexplainable.
Nah, it's explainable. There's a lot of he had beef with labels and very powerful label heads, and when you have beef with those kind of people. Sometimes they will go out of their way to just stop something from happening for you. Now, thankfully, we live in a time where there's social media and whatnot, and people can take control of their own platform. And he just got out of that label, I think maybe a year or two ago. So hopefully we get to hear more of Lupe Fiasco, and people just look out for his name, because that's the only way he's going to get the notoriety that he deserves, in my opinion.
So, what was my next question? So artists, like, who are some artists that you would love to work with in the future that are out right now that you think that would be a great addition to work with and stuff like that you think could really further you as an artist and stuff, just in general, like just to make great music for everyone to hear and stuff like that?
Honestly, there's so many different artists. I really like Rod Wave. I really like his music and how much soul is in his music. There's this artist from Jersey named Soulless. I got a track with him and like, but I want to like make a lot more music with him, because in conversation he's one of the most intelligent people I've ever spoken to. Definitely want to make a song with Lupe Fiasco. Definitely want to work with I mean, I'm a little more hesitant, but I don't want to be hesitant. But I want to work with Kanye, you know, because regardless of his of our change of opinions and stuff like that, I'd be a hypocrite to not want to work with him because of his points of views. The only thing is, I have to always be considerate that his points of views conflict my well-being. You know what I'm saying? But it's a conversation that I want to have with him. I don't want to just judge somebody that I never met and got the opportunity to talk to.
Yeah, because Kanye, like I said, on the public eyes, like everyone is like Kanye is he a little crazy. He said some questionable things, but like musically, like he's a musical genius.
Well, I mean,
he's a musical
all right, so here's the thing. He does have, you know, documented bipolar disorder, but I don't really think he's crazy. I think he's misunderstood sometimes. I think he's only human. So, like, a lot of times, like, when you have a platform as big as he does, and you just say things and you don't have the opportunity to learn before you say those things, sometimes some things you say may come off a little bit as ignorant. But I think the reason why he says he doesn't regret anything is because in those times where he said something that was wrong or that he doesn't agree with now, you know, there was lessons in that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Okay,
I'm just on a wave of just trying to be like less judgmental and stuff.
Less judgment. I fuck with that. I feel like it's not always. You gotta really talk to the person and really figure out what's in their mind. So like, I fuck with that. I agree with that. But you like, a lot of the artists that I've had on here, they have been talking about Kanye nonstop. So like that tells me that like Kanye he's such a big inspiration to a lot of artists out here, man. He really
probably
is, man.
the greatest. I don't want to say greatest, but at least in popularity and influence, the biggest artist since Michael Jackson, I would say. And I know that I'm not saying that he's bigger than Michael Jackson. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying since Michael Jackson, I don't think there's been somebody who's been of that kind of like major influence in so many different ways and across all genres since Michael Jackson.
So musically, when you go into making a song, man, like, what's your process? What do you do before you go into making a track? Like, is it like a certain thing on your mind for that certain day? Like, how exactly do you go in to making a song?
Well, it depends on what's going on in my life. Like, a lot of times I'll think about what's going on in the world and just write on it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll just think, how many different ways is it possible to say that I'm dope? And let me try to figure out every single kind of way, and I do my braggadocious rap and stuff. But a lot of the time I just look at the world or look within myself and life experiences.
Good. What's another one I had? So like, now you spoke about it a little bit, but like, how do you feel about the quote unquote YouTube rapper title? Like, because some people would consider you a YouTube rapper, but I mean, like, there's ways to get out of it, but like it seems very, very difficult to get that stigma because YouTube rappers are considered to not be taken as serious as the other artists that are out there. Like, how do you feel about that term, YouTube rapper?
I had a conversation with somebody the other day about this. I don't feel a way about it because I realize that I'm here to utilize every single platform that I can. And when people were saying, I literally once had a person try to do a documentary on me, and I didn't understand what her purpose was, but her documentary at the end of the day was supposed to be about SoundCloud rappers. And I'm an artist,
okay,
and I utilize SoundCloud to upload my music, but I'm not necessarily a SoundCloud rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But after she did that, I had released my Sickest Mode remix or Sicko Mode remix and said, if I'm just a SoundCloud rapper, I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? So like, no matter what platform I'm on, I plan to try my best to conquer it and be the best at it. So since I've had 15,000 followers on Instagram before the popularity in YouTube surge, but for people who don't know, I just got here, and a lot of the higher ups are like showing love and saying that I'm what's next, and I just got here. You get what I'm saying? So like, I plan on eventually. I don't feel like I'm the best here yet, but I plan on working my way up to being the best and taking over, and maybe I can be the person who proves that the negative stigma about YouTube rap isn't real. That there are some artists who blew up on this platform that are, you know, really, really dope, you know? Like, and there's a lot of artists that blew up on this platform that just don't have that title.
Yeah, there's some decent, I guess I would say, like, I'd say Quadeca started to separate himself from it. I would say another artist like DDG has started to separate himself from that. There's plenty of other artists. I'm drawing a little bit of blank right now, but there's some other artists that have been able to separate themselves from that YouTube rapper stigma. It's possible. It's very, very possible. But it does seem very, very difficult. But like,
well, you gotta. I was gonna say maybe ask yourself like, is Ayo and Teo Instagram artists? Because their song blew up on Instagram. Is Meg Thee Stallion a TikTok artist because her biggest single blew up on TikTok? You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of times it's like us artists, we're just trying to keep up too, and go to whatever platform that will show us the most love and be more lucrative in the end. And I feel like the thing that's going to help is when we realize, like, although we're part of these communities, we can be part of several communities. I don't limit myself to being a YouTube rapper in my mind. I don't limit myself to being a SoundCloud rapper in my mind. I don't even limit myself to being a TikTok rapper, although I have a TikTok account. But I try to utilize all of these things, all of them, and bring them together and gain popularity. And you find me where you find me.
Hey.
Call me what you want. Call me what you want, but as long as you're calling me.
Exactly. Hey, facts. So the latest single that you put out, well, it's been out for a decent amount of time, is Goodnight, man. That song, I think, has by far been the song that's been gaining a lot of traction for you lately. And how did you make that song? Like, how the hell? Because if you guys know, I reacted to it, and like the different kind of stuff you was doing throughout that song was crazy, bro. Like how the hell did you come up with that, bro?
Alright, so it actually originally came from a place of like misery.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of people wouldn't believe that. But when I first, the original title of it, and I can show you like a screenshot, was a miserable freestyle. And all I had, it just ended at, that's why you motherfuckers hate my guts. And I didn't add any of the vocals or the hook or anything. It was just that for about like 6-7 months. Because I was just like fed up with the world and just like sad and stuff. And I told my friend Tynell that. And on the phone, he said, you know, you got to either roll with the punches and just, you know, get knocked down or get up and fight the fuck back. And he's the person who said that at the beginning of the track because I asked him to re-say it. But
okay.
Yeah, so that's what it came out of. And then eventually I was like, I was sitting on the track for a while. Trooper kept hitting me up about it, like, yo, when we gonna drop this track? When are you gonna finish this track? Trooper is the producer of the song. And one day I was just like, yo, this is like one of my greatest verses. Let me just continue it. And then after I made that decision, I still didn't get the second verse done until like a month later because I was
working on this track.
I was so strategic with it because I was like, yo, if this first verse is one of my best verses, I gotta really go in on the second verse and keep that energy. So but the most interesting part about the whole thing was the creation of the chorus. I didn't know what I wanted to do for the chorus. I hummed so many different melodies and stuff. My girl, or actually my wife now, was here just sitting and like just kicking it with me. And I started off just like, you know what, I'm just gonna like say whatever melodies come to my head. And that's when I started off just saying and I got that out, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I put mad effects on it and stuff, and then it just sounded like a Travis Scott ripoff.
Yeah, because I was just sitting there, I was like, what is this boy? I was just sitting there, that's the clip, that part right there, that was the clip that you posted on your Instagram, we reacted to that part. I was like, what is this boy trying to do here? Yeah, and it definitely is kind of like Travis Scott. And I'm from Houston, Texas. I love Travis Scott. So if I hear anything like Travis Scott, I'm gonna fucking love it by default. Like I can't help myself. Like I'm gonna love it.
I mean, he definitely inspired me because Astroworld was one of my favorite albums. But when I did that, and it just sounded like there's a difference between sounding like I'm inspired by Travis Scott and then sounding like I'm a Travis Scott ripoff. You know what I'm saying? So with that part, it was just that one vocal. I put some distortion, auto-tune, reverb on it, and like a stereo spreader. probably talking about stuff that like only like people who produce are gonna know about.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know.
But I did stuff that made me sound pretty much exactly like Travis Scott, and then I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't want to sound like a ripoff, and that's when I started adding the layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of vocals, because I'm like, I don't think anybody has done this sound in this way, and I made it. I kind of try. I mean, I tried my best to make it my own thing, and then that's when it came out the way it did. That was a super long explanation. My apologies.
No, you good, man. You good, man. Like I said, man. That song has gained a lot of traction for you, and I'm happy for you, man. That it. Ooh, excuse me. Not Corona. Chill out. Chill out. But
just
I'm glad
off my laptop.
No. Chill. We ain't got none of that going on over here. No, we staying inside. We staying inside, brother. But like I said, I'm glad that song has been blowing up for you, and the way you explained it, like for you to put all that work into that track, man, like I see, it's good to see your hard work pay off for you. Like that's the biggest thing. One more question before we switch it up a little bit and talk about some different kind of stuff. So like you mentioned about your wife, well, your wife now, your girl before, but she's your wife now. Like, how has she been an influence in your career, man? Like, how has she helped you out as far as with your music career, man? How, like, what has she been to you, man?
I feel like there was a couple of different moments where I could have did something that got me in a lot of trouble or got me canceled, and she was just that person to be like, hold on, just like just think. So I
cancel culture is real
for that. A lot of times, I'll show her my music and stuff like that, and she'll tell me what she think, what can I improve on and stuff like that. And so far, it hasn't really steered me wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, like I'm still like 100% in control of all of my stuff. All of these ideas are mine, but she's definitely one of those first people that I go to. Like, what do you think of this? You've been with me so long. You know me as a person. Do you feel like this song represents me as a person well? So, yeah.
So if you guys know me, I like to switch it up during these podcasts and not just talk straight music with the artists. I like to talk some sports as well, because I am a sports head. And you said you're from Jersey. How big are you? How big of a sports fan are you? Let's start off with that. How big of a sports fan are you first off?
I ain't going cap, bro.
Oh, no.
All right, so let me explain, right? I kind of run away from things that I'm not good at. So it started off with me like not being good at basketball and saying like, yo, y'all do y'all thing with that, and just not paying attention to it because I didn't understand it. I don't want to understand something I'm not good at. So I have a favorite basketball team, which is the Chicago Bulls, but my team also switched from starting off with the Nets. And the only reason I was a fan of the Nets was because Jason Kidd shot like me. Like, this is the only shot overhead, and he had a weird ass shot with a winning every time, so it made me feel like, you know what, maybe I can keep doing this and be good at it. But
yeah, no.
So
don't do that.
Then after that, I was a Heat fan. I was a Heat fan for a really long time. And then LeBron had came to the Heat. And I was mad because I felt like there was going to be mad bandwagons who came to the Heat because of LeBron. So I just said, you know what, man, I'm with the Chicago Bulls now. This is around the time that D Rose is popping.
Oh my God, man, switching from team to team.
Yeah, so that's how you know, like, I'm not a good sports fan. But there's only one team that I've been down for my entire life, and that's Steelers. But when it comes to football, all right, we with it.
Bro, hold on.
Wait, nah, don't be excited yet. Don't be excited yet.
Come on, man.
All right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come
How many?
on, man.
All right, you see him.
Exactly, 6 of them. 6 of them. Come on, man. You know what time it is, bro.
All right,
I swear to you, I did not know he was a Steelers fan. I swear to you, I did not know.
But let me say this though. So like in paying attention to that, I kind of was like, you know, wavering with it. I watched it when I watched football when I could. I definitely like watched maybe every Super Bowl. But then after me having like a decent interest in it and not like a crazy interest in it. And then the whole thing happened with Kaepernick, and I was one of those people who like boycotted and just said, you know what, I'm not going to watch football this year. There was about 2 years that I decided not to watch football, and then after a while I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch it. And it didn't hit the same for me. Like, so since then I haven't really watched it, and now it's been about like 4 or 5 years since I really watched football. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back into it. So I don't know how much I can say on sports right now without sounding stupid and talking about like great things that happened like years ago.
Yes, yeah. At least you're smart, and you're a Steelers fan. You're smart with that one. That's the one thing I would say. You're smart with being a Steelers fan and not letting anyone else change your mind about that. So you're right off there. You're right there. Now the going from the Nets to the Bulls to the Heat. Sounds like a lot of bandwagon. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't bandwagon. I was always afraid to be part of bandwagon things. So like, as I said, I just like Jason Kidd, and I'm from New Jersey, and at the time the Nets was a New Jersey team. So I was like, initially bandwagoning, and then I started to look into it like a little bit more, and D Wade became my favorite player. So when he became my favorite player, I started looking into the Heat. Every time that I played 2K or at the time NBA Live, I was...
Oh man, Live. Oh,
yeah, throwback. But every time I played it, I was playing with the Heat. I was really interested in it. And then LeBron came, and I was like, nah, I don't want to say I'm a Heat fan anymore, because there's going to be a bunch of people who are saying that they're Heat fans just because of LeBron. And I was like, all right, let me find another team. And my uncle has always been a Bulls fan, so I decided to look more into Bulls, look into the history of Bulls, and of course Jordan came up in that conversation, and I was like, you know what? I already love Chicago. I love Lupe Fiasco. I love Kanye. I love Common. I love Chief Keef. There's so many different Chicago artists that I love that I was just like, I might as well, I'm from Chicago now. What's up?
Hey, I know about my boy T Griffin gonna be happy about that one, because he's from Chicago himself, man. And he just talks about how depressing it is as a Chicago fan, because it's like ever since Jordan, like other than the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series a couple years ago, it's been tough being a Chicago fan, man. I mean, you had the Derrick Rose injury. Then he's gone, and he's still playing. He's still doing well in NBA, but it's
not the same.
It's not the same, and the Bulls. They got Zach LaVine. I mean, they got the guy that won a dunk contest. I mean,
but what's a dunk contest?
Man, I mean, it was good this year, man. I mean, it was good this year.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying though, I mean, shoot, maybe I say that like due to my ignorance and stuff like that, because I only paid attention to like the actual games and the league and stuff when I was paying attention to it. Like I didn't really get into the dunk contest and all of that. I was just watching the highlights of that. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, I'm ignorant when it comes to sports, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Hey man, hey. At least you're honest with it. Some people are like, yeah, I know this person, and they will sound really, really dumb saying some dumb stuff about sports, and be like, bro, you think you can beat me in the debate? Like, come on, man. Don't do this to yourself.
I could talk about video games and rap though. That's
video games. I haven't gamed a lot lately. Like, I know about games, but like I'm not like I used to be like really into hardcore video games, but like now it's just like I have the Xbox here, but like I play it like every now and like hardly ever. Like every now and then, it's like I'm just not into it like that no more. But like I used to be into it. But like,
I mean, when I was into it, I always played like solo story games. Like I was a big Metal Gear Solid fan, Resident Evil, God of War, and stuff. So like now, when I play, like the most recent games that I just bought was Metal Gear Solid 5, Last of Us 1, and Last of Us 2. Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2. Like, I'm not playing to play online with everybody else or anything. I just I game for the stories.
Yeah, Last of Us 2, that game got all kind of buzz. I saw that buzz with Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
man. Like,
people are hating it, and I'm only upset because I bought it already, and I don't know. Like,
you know,
I haven't played it
oh,
yet because
man.
I haven't beat part 1. When I played part 1, I played it at my brother's house in one day and got like 75% through the game. Like, I really game, bro. Like, I don't know if you played Metal Gear Solid at all, but Metal Gear Solid 4, probably the longest one, I beat that overnight. Like, I don't game because when I game. Like,
okay, just beating a whole game in one day. All right.
Yeah, man. I give my life to it, and that's the reason. Like, as a rapper, bro, I can't do it anymore. But I just got this like whole like camera and stuff to be able to stream. So I figured if it's going to be something lucrative, then I'll be able to do it. So if once I find a way to make money out of video gaming, I might get back into it.
Okay. So one last question, man, before we get out of here, man. What's the next drop? What's the next song, album? Like, when do you plan on putting anything else out as of right now, as far as musically? What's the next thing that's coming?
Unless things fall behind schedule, I'm planning to drop the Goodnight remix the Goodnight remix EP July 30th. But for anybody who's tired of hearing Goodnight or tired of hearing about Goodnight, I should also be having a project with Jay Wonder coming out. A collab EP. If you guys don't know who that is, I strongly recommend him. His most recent album, Channel 1, just came out. One of the best albums that I've heard in a long time. But yeah, collab EP with him, and then I'm working on my next project called Duo Liddy.
Okay.
And the concept of it is going to be duality. So look forward to that. I don't know when it's going to drop. I'm very conceptual on my album, so it's not going to drop until it's perfect. Just know that.
Okay. Actually, I forgot to ask you this question because I was going to ask you before. But with that, because you had like a series where you had, not series, but like you had like a competition for like people to submit like verses for the Goodnight remix and stuff like that. Like how was that process? Because you upload the reactions of that. How was that process to go through all of that, man?
It's like, extremely draining. I don't know if I will ever do this again because I was thinking about like how many competitions that I'd done and I got no kind of recognition at all, and how much that hurts as an artist to know that you put so much time into something and to know that the person didn't even see it. It's like that hurts. So with that being said, I watched every single, I kid you not, single submission. And there was definitely about 200, bro. Like, no cap. It had to be like 200 of them. And I watched them. I reacted to every single one of them. And I'm editing a video full of it. Now, the first video, my mistake was I just put like every single one in there except like one or two. This time, there's going to be an honorable mentions list.
Okay.
So I reacted to every single one of them, but I gotta shorten it and stuff for the sake of people who are watching, because although I have the patience and time to show love to everybody who show love back to me, I understand that my subscribers may not want to see all of that. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was the last question I just thought about. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on for this podcast, man. I appreciate you, like I said, or sometime during this podcast. I think you're very talented, bro. Like Quadeca said, man, you're versatile, bro. Like, you have what it takes to really be big time. Like, it's honestly a sin that you're only at what, like, how many subscribers you got on YouTube right now?
Nearly 30,000.
Nearly 30,000. That's still like the quality of music that you put out, bro. It's top tier stuff, man. And like I said, you're only looking to get better, man. And there's always room to improve. Never think that there's never room to improve. There's always something you can always improve on. But you're for where you are right now, for your quality, you're going somewhere, bro. You're like I said in my reaction video, you're on to something, my guy. You're on to something.
Yo, Kodak Black Voice, I hope so.
Hey.
I hope that all this grinding and stuff that I've done isn't going to be worth like nothing. I hope that something does come out of it, and I hope that for everybody who's believing in me, you know, I just pray I never let y'all down.
Facts. All right, that's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen, for the hashtag Why Is This News podcast episode number 21. Next week's guest is another YouTuber. He's not a rapper, actually. He's just a straight YouTuber, unless he raps. To my knowledge, I don't think he does. But he's a YouTuber named Skiz. And it's going to be an interesting one because it's going to be some controversy right now. I already know what's coming. But that is going to do it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Samad are out. Peace.
Screw with it.
Hey, damn baby got cake, I need a portion. Ass so big, I'ma need a forklift.